Oh yeah.
Christian,
Ciao caro, come stai?
this is for you only.
Ok. Oh, wow. There you go.
That's it. I always wanted to know your secret.
Bravo. Salute.
I think it was in the legs, but I still watching your videos to find out why you being the greatest flair bartender of the whole
Thank
time.
thank you, Alex. Thank you.
How are
It's
you,
awesome.
brother?
Good, good, good. Very well. How about yourself?
Very good, very good. It's
Yeah,
yeah,
it's awesome. It's awesome to see, and I love that you actually show that that you show some flair skills in there as well, meaning that we can use flair in so many ways, and we can use anything that we have in hands to entertain our guests and make him having a good
exactly.
time
And make it with style, especially.
with style, stile, con stile.
Con stile, sempre, sempre. As we always say, Christian, doesn't matter what you do, but how you do it.
Absolutely,
You can do simple
100%.
things, very well executed, with a nice attitude, and voila, the
Absolutely.
guest is happy. So, yeah,
Absolutely. Agros, would you tell us a little bit about your beginnings, where you come from, where you start your bartending career in London, and
sure.
how did you get where you are right now?
Okay, well, we need to distillate in
Yeah, we make it short.
20 years of career, you know, because I start to talk a lot because I'm very
Yeah.
passionate. So, young Agostino Perrone is from Lake Como, beautiful place in the world where George Clooney also lives. So I can tell that
Nice,
George Clooney has a very good taste.
nice,
That's
nice.
approved. That's approved. And my dream since I was little and then teenager, it was really to discover the world, to travel and experience all those amazing countries with all this variety of cultures.
Hmm.
And how I expressed myself when I was teenager was through photography. So I wanted to be a travel photographer, actually.
Nice.
And so I finished the school and I start to work in a bar, in a local bar in Lake Como, like
Hmm.
all day, doing breakfast, aperitif for lunch, little of a lunch service, afternoon aperitif for dinner. I started to work in this friend's bar because I wanted to pay my study.
Hmm.
But as soon as I started, I stepped in the bar world. I was excited by the the way how you could interact with people, and
Absolutely.
I was very fascinated by listening the stories. All my guests, much with much more experience than me. You know, I was 19, 20 year old. They were 40, 45, 50, 60, well traveled. They've been in Asia, they've been in Americas, they've been all over the world, and they were telling me about their stories. So before getting excited and in love with the bottles, my first love in bars was with people, which I
Nice.
think is one of the
Hospitality.
key. And in there, I learned a few tricks, and because of guidance of my boss and because of mistake, I learned a few tricks how you need to interact with people, how you need to listen and understand people, how to please them, even sometimes you feel forced. But it's our job to please the people, to turn a situation upside down. So when somebody
Absolutely.
come in 7:30 in the morning, I tell you, he's not in a good mood.
No.
99% of the time. So you need to be
Exactly.
the first person that they see
Hmm.
that can make their day
Better.
be a successful day. Then in the aperitif in the evening, you can make their day better because they finish the day.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And so I started to work in this bar called the Caffè Broletto. And yes, I felt in love with the environment of the bar, with the contact with people. And then, of course, you feel intrigued to want to know what is in the bottle. You see, you
Hmm.
know, so many different shapes and color and labels that you never seen before. and you pick it up, you start to read the label, you ask the head bartender, and they give you a slap in the face because you are not allowed to
To ask.
to ask. You need just to wash the glasses and make paninos. So that's how I started. And yeah, the world of cocktail as well came right away because in this little bar we were making lots of classic cocktail. Talk about 20 years ago, Christian, in Lake Como, which is a very, very tiny
Very small town.
town, yeah. Limes, they were not available. So we were the only bar to have limes to make caipirinhas and mojito.
Oh,
Can you
wow.
imagine? Yeah.
Wow.
So you start to feel the flavor as well of exotic ingredient, and everything was wow. A little short after a few months of experience in this bar, I don't know, I felt in love with the hospitality, with the bar world. And I started to browse around the Lake Como area, which one could be a good bar where I could learn. So I never done any IBS or UKBG or IBA's bartender training. I mean, I did the IBS a few years after, but what I always felt that I wanted to go in places to learn where I had the feeling that I could learn, not because the place was good by name. So I kind of I was
You can
listening my
take something
intuition.
from,
Yeah, I was listening my intuition really. And then I arrived in Milan, where I did my first bartender training, which was in Trefe. You remember Lorenzo Bianchi?
Yes, yes.
Lorenzo Bianchi was the Italian representative of FBA. He was Lorenzo and Fabio Milani when you guys you were starting as well, and that was my first bartender training, American style bartender, which was about the bigger picture of our profession. So it was not only flair, but it was how to set up a bar, product knowledge, guest interaction, be efficient during work, and as well how to entertain the guest. But what I learned right away with Lorenzo and the team that it was not the flair aspect. It was a part of the guest experience.
Of course.
So we trained how to keep everything the flow without stopping necessarily the business to make the show. And I can't tell you, Christian, how many hours I spent watching your tapes.
Let me adjust.
You guys,
Wow.
bloody hell, you
awesome.
were enchanting us every day. It was at the time. Was the first internet was starting, but there was no way to get hold of the international crowd. It was only to buy the tape. Yeah, it was only to buy the tape from the website, from your website.
And that's how it's so interesting right now. The people has the chance to listen to this experience that we're sharing, that you're sharing your own experience that is very motivating and inspirational, and people can see it and feed from it. Which before, the only way that they could have the chance is if they actually meet Agostino in person. Exactly. They will have to travel to London and have a chat with you whenever you have the chance. And now we have this huge advantage that people can listen to Ago and learn from him, and it is amazing.
Exactly. Yeah, before you really had to be committed 150% into your vision, into your dream. Hey, go to Las Vegas, try the fortune, buy the tapes from you guys, training 8 hours a day and work 10 hours a day. Yeah. So it was nice. It was nice to experience that, to be able now to help the future generation. Yeah. So how I left Italy is because a job opportunity came to move to London.
Nice.
And we arrived in London was Simone Maci and myself. Simone Maci was my head bartender in a place where we worked together in Arcore, near Monza, where there is the Formula One GP.
Formula One. Yep.
Yeah, Simone always wanted to come to London. I was okay in Italy, Christian. I can't lie. I was in my car, my comfort, good job, good salary.
Yeah.
Why I need to leave Italy?
Yeah, great city.
Yeah, exactly. And Simone said, "No, I go. Let's go. London is great." I never been before. I never been even one day to visit the lab, to visit Milk and Honey, to visit TGI Friday. I never been to visit the Roadhouse. I never been at all. So the first time I came to London was literally to have the meeting for the job interview. And wow, London was overwhelming right away. Everything was bigger, different, a lot of action around.
Big city.
Wow, big
fast
city.
pace.
Exactly. And we went to visit Lab, we went to Roadhouse, so we had the cocktail bar and the flair bar. And I said, wow, this is, it's not a city, it's a different planet.
Yeah.
Whatever I saw in 5 years in Italy, between Lake Como, Milan, and traveling through Italy to do several guest shifts and tours, I said, wow, it's a different beast.
Different monster, yes, absolutely.
It's a different monster, and I think I love it.
Yes.
You don't know why. You don't know why, because it is hard, but you love it.
Yes.
Because
yes.
you know that it takes a lot, and you need to give even more. And only one will be the winner, isn't it?
Yes, yes.
So we moved to London, was the 8th of February 2003. I became kind of friends with Dremasso, who was the head bartender at Lab in Stockholm. And in September, he was opening a fantastic Spanish-themed bar restaurant. And out of the blue, my phone rang, and there was Dremasso. He told me, Ago, I have this project that I'm opening in September, and all the team needs to be Latino, Italian, Spanish. We have a lot of Mexican, Portuguese, and I love, if you like, to be part of the team. So my feet went from the ground, they went all the way to the sky. I said, wow, Dremasso calling me to be part of this team. Unbelievable. Yeah. And that's what it was, I think, was one of the sparkle that really, the first time that you feel that not that you achieve something in London, but you're doing right.
Yes, you're going in the right path.
You're going the right path, and
it's again, motivation. It's motivation to keep on pushing.
Exactly. And let me tell you, nowadays, in that team there was so many amazing people. One is still a dear friend of mine, is Stefano Francavilla, who works for Fortaleza Tequila. You know him for sure. Gabi Moncada, my wife, as well, she's a agave expert. Then was, well, of course, Dremasso, Tobias Baskets, who is now in Bali as a bar manager, and so many other people that we spread each of us in our direction, and we're still very good friends. I started 17 years ago in this amazing location in Covent Garden. Okay. I moved to 2004. I moved to Dusk Bar, south of the river, south of the Thames. It was the first cocktail bar that was outside the West End. It was outside Chelsea. So it was a bit of the bet from the owners, because they wanted to start this adventure. And
the cocktail world.
The cocktail world, they were very good, because Dusk Bar became very popular. So we could attract a lot of people, local people. They were living in the area, so they didn't go away to town to enjoy their weekend. They had to come to us. And in there, I started to make some cocktail competition. My profile started to be elevated a little bit. And in 2006, with Nidal Ramini, who was also the owner in that Dusk, we opened the very much loved Montgomery Place in Notting Hill. Montgomery Place, there is I don't know how to describe it. It was a little bar with a big soul. You were working in this little room, but you felt
Yeah,
Wow, you felt like going into a church almost. You
yeah,
felt
it's
big.
a
You
great,
felt the
great,
space.
yeah, great atmosphere, cozy, very
Exactly.
personal.
Yeah, the selection of cocktail we designed was very much in line with the time. 2006 was rediscovering the classic cocktail, the
Hmm.
forgotten classic. So it was about getting the dust off of the
Of the
bottle
books, the
the original vermouth,
vermouth.
French aperitif, and everything started. And then when the Martinez really came very strong, and from there,
You
uh,
said that that you were known, you're known for the martini right now, but you were known for the Martinez when you
yeah,
were in the Montgomery, right?
yeah. I mean, my recipe was quite with Italian character, so it was with a good personality.
No?
And yes, I loved it. I still have, look, not because I want to um, show off, not at all, but this Joy Mixology, the revisited version. So
Oh wow,
God bless Gary
Gary.
Reagan. So he wrote the recipe of the Martinez in his book because I remember the experience he had
Hmm.
when he came to Montgomery Place.
Yeah.
So yeah, my recipe is essentially is a 2-to-1 of was a Puntemez. Is Puntemez is still one of my favorite vermouth because of the character.
Hmm.
And then I always liked gin, a
Hmm.
gin with a character. So London Dry style gin, or those
The
gin with the
filter
element.
Connaught,
Yeah, yeah. So for the Martinez, actually I used a Navy Strength.
very strength, nice.
In the beginning was Plymouth. Now I also love to use the Sipsmith VJOP.
Oh, very nice.
A teaspoon of maraschino, 1.5 teaspoon of orange curacao, and a dash of Abbott's bitter. Stir,
Nice.
serve in a wine glass on an ice chunk, orange zest, and that's it.
On a wine
And
glass with a nice
yeah,
chunk.
yeah,
Nice.
with the ice chunk. Yeah, I love it
It
because
keeps
of
the
the
viscosity, it's cold
exactly the
temperature.
viscosity is cold. You have all this flavor keep
Yeah.
developing on the palate, and
Developing as the ice melts. Beautiful.
exactly, I love it, and well,
Beautiful.
Gary loved it as well as many other of those great bartenders that have been an inspiration for me. So, 2004, 5, 6 is when we had the first London bar shows. So when Gary Reagan started to come to London, well, Del de Groff was already here because of Milk and Honey,
Hmm.
but he started to do public talk. Jared and Anastasia, they started to come to London to share their knowledge. So it was really the beginning of the golden age of the
Of
modern
London.
cocktail, or the modern
Great.
cocktail. 2008, a dear friend of mine, Santino Cicciari, he knocked at the door of Montgomery Place and he told me, Ago, I have a project that I'd like to do with you. I say, yes, I'm very happy. Tell me what it's about. I might be interested, I might be not. And he told me there is the Connaught Hotel, which is one of the most traditional hotel in the world, which only been once by the time.
Hmm.
They are about to close. They want to reopen, and they want to have a modern cocktail bar inside. I said, good luck.
Like
Good,
700,000 euro pounds they spend in the remodeling, right? Something like that. Something
70
crazy.
million,
70 million.
70 million, yeah. 12 years ago. So now it would be a little bit more if you compare. And
Wow.
uh, and I was not really. It wasn't my cup of tea, as the English saying here, because if you see my photo and style from Montgomery Place, I was a little bit more loose and yellow
Casual.
braces, beard, and piercing, and I was happy like that. I didn't like the idea to have too many rules, so I didn't like the idea to work in hotel.
Hmm.
By hearing, by experience of other friends working hotel because they were very frustrated. You're only a number. Nobody cares about you do. Blah 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 blah
Hmm.
blah. So I say, well, I feel that is not my word. Santino is an amazing guy. He told me, Ago, we have two things here that we can make the perfect cocktail. He had a very good experience and great with people. He has a very good people skills in terms of team members and guests. I say, Ago, I give you this one, and you give me your creativity. So we put those two things together. There is something that nowadays in hotel bars, in hotel bars, it doesn't exist. There is a lot of hospitality, a lot of great product, classic cocktail, but there is no this flair that we wanted. So well, it was a little bit of a negotiation because I wasn't sure, but in the end, you know, I understand, I learned in London in life that if something is calling you, you are not sure because you're scared or whatever reason, you might think, make your mindset that you shouldn't do it, just go for it.
Yeah, there's only one. There's only one way to find out.
Exactly, and you know the results already.
Yeah, of course. Amazing call, amazing decision. It was the right decision for sure.
Yeah, it was. I didn't think so in the beginning because the first months, I tell you, wow.
It takes work. It takes a lot of work for a place to develop to be what it is.
The first months to go from independent bar to hotel bar, it was like coming from Lake Como to London. Everything bigger, everything different, everything was a lot. And well, the team in the beginning, it was absolutely fantastic. It was Santino, myself, Eric Lawrence, and a few other great people that we're still in very good contact now. And yes, the first 2 years there was really a learning curve that it was massive. And after that, we never stopped learning. Really, we keep wanted to be having faith in the vision. So sticking to the vision, that was about the guest. So the final results of the Connaught bar experience, it was 12 years ago, it is now guest focused, guest oriented. You want the guest to walk in, it doesn't matter how they walk in, they need to walk out with a smile.
Yeah.
Happier to come back.
Yeah. Happier than when you came in. Yeah.
Exactly. And then there is the rest, there is the design, there is the music, there is the serving, and there is the cocktail.
Yeah, of course.
Which is very important. It's something that, again, at the time, nobody really cared about as we did, or they didn't dare to do it because it was too difficult.
Yes, and too new.
Too new.
Also, like, it's crazy now how you see like the product and the results of just one thing that you just mentioned. This is like we only focus about the guest. It's so simple, yet so complicated for some places to understand that. And it's all about it's very easy to say it from the mouth out, but now to deliver and truly mean it, that's what makes a difference.
Because you need to feel, you need to first of all get into the feeling on the bar, and understand the mood of the bar and be part of it.
You need to become the bar.
And then you need to become the bar, and then you can deliver.
Absolutely.
If you have too much ego, or if you think that what Agostino does, who is your boss, is not right, or if you don't like this kind of guests that walk in, we can work on it, but you need to do most of the work. So yes, I think that we were the first one to dare to make this kind of environment into hotels. And well, we've been very successful since day one, and I think we can say that we inspired many other people to do so and to follow what we did in the Connaught.
Yeah.
And bear in mind, the Connaught is one of the most historic hotels in the world.
Yes.
So now it kind of makes sense to have a modern hotel and you have a cocktail bar. But again, does it work? Does it really fit the style of the hotel? Do the people follow the same vision, or everybody try just to show off, to impress the guest in a not proper way? That's what we want. We want it always to be as much humble as we can. And thanks to training that we had on how to behave with people, how to use the body language, how to communicate, we made sure that we could improve ourselves as a person, in parallel ourselves as a professional.
Absolutely. It makes sense.
This is something that we always, we still really care about. And when there is a new starter coming with us in the team, is the first thing that we tell them. We sit them down and we tell them this is not an academy. We don't teach you. You need to learn by yourself, by following our lead. And then if this bar is this environment is for you, you know, you grow professionally and personally as well.
Absolutely.
As,
I mean, it is the best school in a way, because
exactly.
people that goes out of their way to learn, when you telling them, I'm not teaching you, you got to learn yourself. And these people manage to learn on their own, and just by watching you, by seeing things, that is the best school that you can ever have.
Exactly.
There's nothing better, because there is one thing you really truly want it, and that's all you need.
And you are experience it.
And
that's the thing, because if I tell you you need to do this one, but you don't understand, game over. If I show you, but then you forget about it because you don't feel it's right. When I get you by hands, because I see that you're smart and you really care about it, when I take you by the hands and show you the way, and you feeling it, and you start to contribute to it, is where you become part of the family.
Yeah.
And that's how it happened. I mean, now working with the Giorgio and Maura in the last 6.5 years.
Yes.
That's is a magic trio, and the same mentality that I had in the past with Giorgio and Maura, because I could notice that they were the future. So somebody's good already. It's not my merit to become good. Somebody's good already. You just work together towards growing the bar, the guest experience, and yourself together
as a team. Yes.
Exactly.
Now that brings me to the next question that I have for you, because I've seen you talking with Giorgio in your lives, and there's obviously one thing that you both share, that you have in common, besides being Italian and very professional, is the passion that you have. And the passion that you have, it can only, I mean, the way you describe how to make a martini, it is, you can see the passion. That it reminds me of the same passion that I've learned from Francesco years ago. When you talk about cocktails, when you talk about the final product, you just put such a passion to it that as soon as you finish explaining what it is, I want to have one. Period.
Because we believe it.
We believe
as well, Christian, that you know, there is no a single details that make the difference. There are so many details that put together, they make something which is exceptional. And those many details, we work in a way that the guest doesn't need to realize. So it's not the salute. It's not the sparkle that you put in your cocktail, which is wow. No, it's so many other things. How we set up the room, how we do silent communication, how we place the garnish of the cocktail, that the people don't realize it. But all of a sudden they feel in a space which is very welcoming, is magical because of the flow energy that goes around.
And what's happening?
And we believe in that. Exactly, we believe in that. And I think this one is one of the best learning that you can have as a bartender, so then you can apply in other bars.
Absolutely.
And it's not.
Sorry. What is your what is your, I want to say that, like secret? What? How do you make your martini? What's Aro's martini different than the rest? Why, and what kind of questions you would ask a guest before you make a martini? Because when I tell people sometimes that you ask people more questions about how they want their martini as much as you ask for a steak eye, a ribeye, or a filet mignon, because it's the way it's cooked. Well, what questions do you throw in there? So for people, for bartenders, beginners that are listening, or bar experts that want to share your secrets or your way, Aro's way.
Yeah, there is no secret, honestly. It depends how you do it. So you made a good analogy there. Say that, like you go to a steakhouse and they can ask you so many questions about steak, but steak is more a common topic. Cocktail, martini especially, is not well bartender, so we know about it. But so many people, they never tried a martini. They never went to the Connaught bar. They never tried a real cocktail. So making too many questions can feel overwhelming. And then that to don't want to try the experience. That was our thinking process 12 years ago. And that was the successful way. So, well,
very interesting.
Yeah, keep the distance, be professional yet friendly. You need to understand the guest, and still nowadays we apply the same techniques. So, well, we have the trolley that goes to the table, a kind of the bartender table, which is not technology involved. It's very simple, elegant. It looks like a piece of furniture of the bar. We have on the trolley, we have the bottle of gin, or vodka, or whichever brand guest like. This is the Connaught bar gin, which is made by us. We distill it, we bottle it, everything done by hand. We have the little bottle of vermouth. Vermouth is a blend of 3 different vermouths. We have Martini Extra Dry, Nolly Prat, and Belazar White. So since the beginning, Christian, we didn't want to have, at that time was the vermouth era.
Yeah.
I used this gin with this vermouth with this vodka. And we understand it wasn't the case to do so in the Connaught bar because it was too much talk, less action.
Yes.
You can do in a bar where there is a lot of bar interaction with guests. But in a bar when there is a waiter, waitresses going to the table, when people just enjoy time with their guests, maybe they're having a meeting, you cannot be so much technical about that. So we decided to have a blend of vermouth, all 3 in a different style, that together they give a full bouquet of flavor. And naturally, they match with all the style of gin, vodka, and other spirits. Then we have some, sorry, I disappeared a second.
Yes.
Then on the trolley, we have a selection of bitters as well. Today's we have 5 of those ones. We have green cardamom, lavender, coriander seeds, ginseng and bergamot, which is Mike's signature. We call it Dr. Ago bitters.
Nice.
And then we have marzipan flavor, which is a tonka based. So you guys in the States, you can only smuggle in. You cannot really get it. So those bitters, how I explain it to you now, Christian, is as we share it with the guest. You can choose a bitter according to your mood, your taste profile, or your experience. So if you are very technical, you can discover more botanicals there in the gin, thanks to the bitter that you choose, because you will enhance a certain aspect. If you are not technical, but you like flavor, smelling the bitter, because we give you the smell, every single one. We pick up, this is lavender, for example, so we extend it to the nose of the guest, and we say lavender is woody and floral, yet it's very relaxing, but also reminds rosemary, so can be very good with olive. Cardamom is balsamic and fresh. Ginseng and bergamot enhance woody and citrusy. So you can have a sensorial experience, smelling them, and also you can say, okay, I really love cardamom, but I never tried in cocktails, so I try cardamom. Or I never tried cardamom and I want to experience it because I'm curious, because I like the smell. So you can get people into cocktail.
Yeah, or maybe I like one style of the description that you gave, and even though I never tried those flavors, but I like the descriptions that you gave me, floral. Exactly. I want to try that. And
so we in this sense we approach the guests like we were doing 20 years ago when there were no bitters. The only bitter was Angostura, maybe, and Campari.
Yes.
So how you like your drink? How do you feel today? You need something relaxing, energizing. So you can approach any kind of guest. And with those ones, they don't want to see you because they don't want to talk for whatever reason. When they see how the martini is executed at the table next to them, perhaps with the corner of their eyes, they become curious.
Yes.
And they say, I want it. What's that? So before they didn't want to talk, but now they're asking, they're inquiring for the trolley. So it's a way for us to really interact with the guest. And every single day when we approach the table and we ask, have you been in a Connaught bar before? Good percentage is yes, because we have a lot of regular. Have you tried a Connaught martini before? A high percentage, they say no. So we understand how many opportunities we have every day to engage with new guests.
And to give it that amazing experience.
Exactly. And as much as can seem repetitive that you do a martini 60 times a night with a trolley, you need to be able to be very professional to wipe off that you are bored to make martini, and go to the next guest and be as excited as you were with the first one that you made in the beginning of the afternoon.
Of course.
No, that's our job.
But you see, I'm gonna give you an analysis on that. Like when we make cocktails, like when we make vermouths, like when we cook, let's say, like when a chef cooks, part is to give the guest the experience, and the other part, it fits your ego. It's not your ego, your very self. It just gives you satisfaction that people is liking what you're doing. And I think in my belief, that's enough fuel, that's enough of motivation and incentive for you to act 60 times the same way as the first one. Because you only have one time, one opportunity to give a first good impression.
You say the right thing. Is not about the ego. It's about when you invite the people at home, which is the basic of hospitality. You open the door, you offer them chair, you ask what they like to drink, you offer an aperitif or a snack, and if they like it because it's homemade by you and they really enjoy it, you are happy.
Yeah, you're hosting.
If you're happy, you work better. So you make people happier. If they're happier, you're even happier than them. So it's almost like a drug working in the bar, because
100%.
you become attached to people's happiness. You want to make people happy, So, shall we make a martini?
Yeah, of course.
Sure. Thank you. So our martini is stir, no shaken. So even James Bond, I think that one of them, probably the most elegant and cool of the James Bond that I met, who is Pierce Brosnan. Yes. We changed him into drinking martini as in the movie into the Connaught bar martini.
Yes, nice.
So first thing first, ice is like we consider it as an ingredient.
Super important.
We have our slow frozen ice, as you know, to give a perfect balance between temperature, dilution, and texture as well that you mentioned before, because viscosity, Christian, that you mentioned before when we were describing the Martinez, is something that for me is a box that they always need to be ticked when we create a cocktail, because the viscosity hold all the flavor and allow the flavor to coat the palate and to create this very long aftertaste and make the drink more interesting, because you want to go back every time. More complex is a drink and balanced, and more as a length of flavor, you will experience some aromas that you already know, so the drink is comfortable, and you will experience some aromas that are new, so they make you curious to go back every time.
Nice.
Okay, so we have our ice, then the proportion. Dry, extra dry, wet, 50-50. If I go out, I personally drink a 50-50. I love it. If they use the right vermouth. The Connaught bar martini is a 5-1. So 5 parts of gin and 1 part of vermouth. So here we have 15 milliliters of vermouth. So it's a quarter of an ounce, right?
Half.
Half ounce, 15, sorry. 1 ounce is 30, yeah. And then we have 75 of gin, which is 2 1/4. We don't free pour, even though I did years of free pouring when I was practicing as a flair. But you don't need to be afraid to change your style.
Of course.
I guess you did as well, Christian. No? Working with Francesco and Mr.
Absolutely.
Coco, you use your flares that you have in your blood now to be more elegant and be more fluent and create a flow work that only when the guys that are at the bar and they're watching is entertaining. Is wow.
Yes.
And if you are very busy, they need to wait a little bit longer. They don't mind because they're watching you.
They have an experience.
Exactly. Then we have martini glass out of the cabinet. It's not frozen, but will do. And what we do at the trolley, okay, you see here. So we have ginger, lavender, and the marzipan. Because here is almost 9 o'clock, I go for the marzipan flavor, which has this aroma of almond. So it's a tonka beans base with the almond kernel on a base of white port.
Nice.
So this one will give an amazing viscosity, sweet nose, however, it's still dry on the palate. So you imagine the contrast of the marzipan and the gin. Yeah, the freshness of the gin and the viscosity of the marzipan together, they create an explosion of flavor that stay in the mouth for a long time.
Wow.
We put about 2 milliliters. It seems a lot. However, the way how we develop those bitters with Bob's bitter, they're done in a ratio and dilution that using 2 milliliters is the perfect balance.
Yeah.
If the bitter would be too concentrate, you put even 2 drops, but maybe it become really too bitter. So unbalance the flavor and the experience.
You have more control this way.
Exactly. And then we stir it. So Christian, the sound of martini is this one.
Beautiful.
Silence. It's like the holy water in church.
Yes. Beautiful. Remember, Francesco tells us all the time in Mr. Coco, like, quiet, like, piano.
Piano.
Yeah, he doesn't want to have many noises and stuff.
I always say, you know that you're making a good martini when you can stir a martini in church and nobody realizes it.
Nobody realizes it.
Exactly. So lots of people ask how many times you stir, one side, the other side, how many seconds. There is no really rules because it depends on the ice.
On the ice. That's the biggest difference, right?
If the ice is outside from the freezer from 20 minutes, you just take it out or whatever it might be. It changes. You develop a sensitivity that you know when a drink is ready. Because sometimes the ice is very, very cold. So you reduce the temperature, but you don't have enough dilution.
Yes.
So you need to know really when to stop to make the perfect balance of the drink in the specific moment. And then we have our zest. Now, surely those years of training flair in the garage with the floor mat and everything helped to develop my style. I cannot hide it. I'm very proud to share. So nice. For sure, there's the way I was simply we pour the martini have an influence by years of working different style of bar. So how we do it? We pour it from very high. At the same time, we allow the light oil of the lemon zest
Beautiful.
To go through. And you look at the guest in the eyes, and you say straight up with style, and don't forget the smile.
Beautiful, beautiful.
Why we put very high? Because aeration.
The air it comes in.
Open the flavor. Open the flavor.
Now the zest in the air. Does anything difference to it, or it's just a flair?
No, it does both. So everything we do at the Connaught bar, Christian, has an element of research, technicality, everything be very, very specific, and has the element of flair entertaining. So the zest in the air allow only the light oil or the lemon to go into the drink and on top of the drink
at the same time.
If you squeeze it from very close, you have the heavy oil here. So they will float and there will be only lemon on the nose. And when you drink it, the oil is going to be tingling on the tongue and will be overpowering the whole experience. So
So
this
you
was
cannot
very
have
gentle.
you have gentle aroma, so it stays,
Exactly.
but it doesn't get the strong oils to affect the quality of the cocktail.
Exactly.
Salud, caro.
So we do. Salute.
Salud. Sure. That was an amazing explanation of how to make a martini, and I hope a lot of people can learn some from
That's
it.
great.
The I believe for what I see, so I just saw you making one, which I've seen it before on videos, and your style of working is like it's mesmerizing. It's like you just can stop watching. It's your flair that you use that is very elegant, very classy, stylish, and you give that little flair, which you make it look like nothing. But obviously, I know how difficult it is to be pouring in a straight line and then do a perfect cut, beautiful cut in the air while crossing the zest as well as you're looking at the guest. So,
As well as you're looking around.
of course, you need to know what's
So
everything going on.
exactly.
But now the beauty of it is like people don't realize how difficult it is until they try to do what you do. So, and that's the
We
beauty
make
of
it
flair as well.
we make it look simple,
Of
Christian.
course, that's the whole
When
idea.
we were watching you the first time, guys, do the colonna, the 2 bottles,
Yeah.
and then you put the third one in to do the 3 bottles. You make it look so easy.
Mhm.
And then when we start to try, I don't tell you how many fingers I broke.
Yeah,
When you to
yeah,
grab the second bottle, it's
yeah,
like,
it is. It is funny, but you know that when I used to, when I flared behind the bar, my style is not make it look difficult, so people be like, "Wow, look how hard it is." No, it's the other way around. I want to make it look very easy and very appealing, and people. I always hear that like all the time, like you make it look so easy. Then when I try to do it, it's so difficult, and
yeah.
that's the whole idea, the beauty of flair. Now, when I see this, so I can imagine this going to a table and doing this whole presentation with the explanation that you gave, with the description that you gave about the beers, the suggestions that you might give according to the weather, the time, the people's mood, the guest's mood, and then you just pull them a perfect martini that they're going to enjoy, doing the flair that you do, the beautiful style that you present. That is an everlasting experience. No one can forget that. So
Exactly.
it is like, remember at that time we went to the Connaught bar and they gave us some amazing martini, best martini I ever had. Because let me tell you, the presentation that you give and the descriptions that you give, it does add to the flavor because people perception, they are waiting for it, that flavor. They are imagining it already. And then once they put it in their mouth, they're like, wow, blown away.
We believe that we do actively play with senses, with the
100%.
sight, with the smell, but we do in a very subtle and elegant way. So having the trolley there is already exciting. Having the bartender well dressed there, smelling the aroma is a sense.
Yes.
And hear the story is another sense. And then watching doing it, you already feel in a different world.
Yeah, absolutely.
So
100%.
it's
Yeah,
and there is a lot of study behind it we did in the beginning and we still do nowadays because we want to improve always. But we don't necessarily need to share this one with the guest because it's not about us to be so good because we found a way. It's about them to enjoy the time.
Absolutely. You don't have you let your actions speak for themselves.
Exactly.
You let your flair do the talking.
All the cocktail that we do, apart of the martini, which is served at the table, they are done in such a way that even served in front of the guest is already beautiful, it smells fantastic, interesting, and then when you drink, it has an amazing flavor. And then, of course, there is the talk of the waiter or the waitresses or the bartender if you come at the table or if the guest is at the bar, then add on top. But the cocktail on its own has its own experience because the music is fantastic around as well.
Of course.
People that are amazing. So it's so many things that you can make it
factors.
happening without just try to put the information into the guest ears.
Absolutely. I see. It's very subliminal information that goes into the guest and it just play as an amazing part. I have a few more questions, Saro. So if we're gonna do a break before, so we don't have to cut it. Are you good with time? Do you have like
I love it. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So what we're gonna do is like we have 10 more minutes and then we restart again. So
okay, you tell me.
So one of the things I was gonna ask you is like what's the most important, what's the thing that you're the most proud about your career, like accomplishment, being a competition that you've won, an award that you won with your team. What's the thing that makes you the most proud, that you say like, I did accomplish this? I know there are many of them, but what would be one of the favorite ones?
Now, awards, there are many, and I always say that awards is part of the path. So one awards only is not a fulfillment, is a setting stone that you're doing well. Once you have an award, your bar is full, and the team that you work with, they're amazing and supportive to each other, you're doing well. And I think that the most amazing rewards I can say I have nowadays is that after 12 years, I'm not feel bored to be working in the Connaught bar, because every day we find a way to find something new, to innovate ourselves, and we're excited about it. As I said before, working with Giorgio and Maura, now we are in a trio synergy that each of us has our own skills, and with my guidance in certain aspects, we managed to grow the team as well. So it's not about the product only, it's about the people. And when you have the people with you, not behind you, with you, is the biggest reward you can get. Then, of course, we won best bar in the world, best bartender in the world, most thousand influential people in London. I mean, it's great. Don't get me wrong.
Yes, of course. But what you said is like, at the end of the day, I use always football as an example. Like Messi would never have all the championships that he has with Barcelona if he wouldn't have the amazing players that he has with him,
exactly,
including a great coach, etc. So it's a team effort, and I think your success is shown because your mentality and the way you approach to it as a team with no ego whatsoever, which is very difficult, because it's very difficult when you win, you're very successful, to keep yourself humble. And I always say, like, don't let the criticism to get to your head, and I'm sorry, don't let the ego get to your heart, and don't get the criticism get to your head. Yeah. So it's like it's huge. It's huge that you think that way, and it's a great message for bartenders that are listening, because most people nowadays, they win a competition and they think they're the greatest thing in the world, and that plays.
Good luck to them. Yeah.
Yes, it plays bad for two things, I believe. One, because people stop liking you because you show certain like superiority. That's one. And number two, if you think that there's no more room for you to learn or improve, you become mediocre automatically. You're never going to grow.
No, can be either a time to move on, because might be, or can be that your mindset is not correct. If your mindset is not correct, and you let criticism to come in your head, game over. I'm lucky enough that I'm very sturdy, and I never let the criticism come to my head, because I was going to the vision of the Connaught bar, and whatever was happening is happening around. Can be font of inspiration. You look at it, you just observe it, but you don't need to copy or take it and put it in your bar. The mistake that I see a lot is that a lot of people, they want to take a little bit from the best, mix it together and do in their own bar. And maybe their own bar is not the right environment for the serve, for the kind of manners to do.
For the city, for the
Exactly. So,
100%.
But we mistake. I always say that the best mentoring you can give sometimes to people is don't talk. Let them understand the mistake, and then you can guide them. Because if somebody doesn't want to see it, you need to get a slam on the door in the face.
Yeah,
it's for your own benefit, isn't it?
Yes, of course, always. So I would like to. I was gonna ask you, how did you develop your style, um, like of working? How did you develop it, or if you did you learn it from uh, ideas that you took from somebody, or you just came up with it? What's the whole idea? Like, for instance, when I did my flair routines, I got the inspiration from magic. I try to make it very smooth, very effortless. That was my goal. So what was your goal when you start developing your style to work behind the bar?
Well,
So,
as I went through a path of very classic cafeteria to um, all sort of style of bars. I worked in pub, in discotheques, and then I discovered flair, American style, and then I went back into cocktail bar where I applied a little bit of the flair that I learned and kind of got into my move.
yes.
And then I went in, even when I went to the hotel, I don't know, I think that it was a little bit of each experience I done in the past that allow me to develop my own style that is suitable with my personality
Hmm.
and the way I like to work. Being well, looking cool, of course, because you want to entertain already with the eyes. Also, keeping an eye on what's happening in the room with the guest sitting there, and with the hostess at the door, and with your calling around. So I think having this sense of awareness and confidence in not in an arrogant way, but
No,
confidence
no, no, of course.
because what is important, they always say, Christian, that you need to have a solid foundation of skills and knowledge.
Hmm.
So once you have a solid foundation of skills and knowledge, you are more free to use your own personality.
Of course.
So I make an example when people come to work at a Connaught bar, they need to put aside a little bit their personality in the beginning because they are overwhelmed by the system that we have, 6 hour mise en place, how
Hmm.
we do the martini, how we interact with the guests. It's a lot. However, if they work hard, if they believe it, and they work hard enough to get those foundation solid under the feet, then they can feel more free and they can use their own personality.
Yeah. I always say, like, I give the example when you make cocktails. So at the beginning, when you make a martini, or when you make your martinis, for example, in your head, for someone that's learning, is okay, is 2 ounces of dry
Yeah.
London gin, 2 ounces I mean, ounce of this,
Stir
ounce of
28 time and
fundames, exactly. So there's all these ingredients, 2 bar spoons of maraschino and the dry curacao and the bitters, and then you stir it. So it's all that. Now, once you learn that, it's just a Martinez.
yeah,
Someone tells you Martinez, and you just do. So with that being said, it's like you need to develop your skills first. Your foundation in this case would be the knowledge, so you can put your mind away from the knowledge because it's already
exactly.
there, and then you can
Exactly.
focus on something
It's a,
else.
it's not automatic, but you have it.
Yes, exactly.
It's
Yeah,
like when you're driving.
yeah, exactly.
In the
Yeah,
beginning, my God, man, the accelerator, the clutch, the gear, whoa. You need to go right, left, look in the mirror, and then you do it and you can talk still to
yeah,
people,
yeah,
you know?
absolutely.
Not
Yeah,
on the
it's a
phone, of course, but yeah.
yes. Unless not texting them. Now, did Flair help you in yeah? Well, you said it already. Did Flair help you already on your style somewhat somehow? But what's your opinion on Flair? And do you think your style changes if you work in another bar, for example? So if I was working in just a cocktail bar where it's more loose, more casual, would I was work differently? Would would you change your style a little bit?
No, 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 no. I think that I mean I have a few years of shaking experience, so I can say that this is my style,
Hmm.
and if I go to do, sometimes when we travel, we do guest shift. It can be sometimes you're in an event in in an embassy or whatever. You are just a table with a white tablecloth. You don't change your style for that.
No.
You want to put your signature.
Yes.
If you go to another bar which is not an hotel, like a great bar, like we did 1 year ago, we did a guest shift in Dr. Stravinsky in Barcelona. You don't need to change your style. You need to want to bring your style there.
Well, because that's what people want to see. They want to see.
Exactly.
They want to see Ago.
Ago is Ago. If
Yeah.
Ago changes, no Ago anymore.
Okay.
So
The reason why I ask that question is because when I do flare, I do change my flare according to the place that I am working. So
of course.
so that's why I wanted to see, like, for instance, if I work in Mr. Coco, I cannot double shake because Francesco does not like it. So, but if I'm the place that I'm working right now in Spanglish, Bar Spanglish, we have such a volume that it calls for double shaking, or you just die. You just die. Like it's like super busy. Yeah. So
that's what I learned a lot. Sorry, Christian. That's what I learned that when I did the bartending school, what I brought out of it wasn't the moves, but it was how you organize yourself, how you are dynamic. So whatever you do, if the shaker is here at 45 degrees and the bitters they're here, there is a reason.
Yes.
Everything is not casually placed there to make it.
Yeah, of course. It's a mise en place.
It's ergonomic. It's ergonomic. So that's the part of the flair or the American setup, call it however we like it, that I learned a lot, and then I brought it with me to London. And in London, I experienced more the mixology. So I brought those two things together. And then in the Connaught, I had to develop more my character, the way how to interact with people, the way how to interact with your colleagues. I bring this one over.
Yeah, you span completely your style.
Exactly.
You're just learning.
But I see what you're saying. I see what you're saying, that if you are in a place, your style of flair is different, but the essence of Christian Delpech stay the same.
Yes, of course.
Because Christian, you do this one, and now you do it is wow, it's amazing. Yeah. It's the way how you do it. So you don't need to do difficult things or things that might look, from another planet, because whatever you do, even a simple move, they look fantastic.
Yeah. No, and I'm always about simplicity. I think that simplicity is the newest form of latest form of sophistication in a way. When it comes to even cocktails, I believe that's what I love Italian cocktails so much, because it's always 3-4 ingredients. There's no more to it. It's just amazing as it is. And it's the way you blend them, the way you mix them. The same with flair, I believe. If you do working flair behind the bar, it needs to be straight to the point. To the ultimate point is to make a great cocktail.
Yeah. If you take a shaker from here, and then if you want to put it back, you need to know how to put it back in a smooth way.
Absolutely.
Otherwise, you take it from here, and then you turn it around here, and then you take the bottle.
Absolutely.
That's
great. That's great. Alex, what tip would you give a beginner? This is a very cliche question. I mean, it's a very popular question, but usually people wants to hear what advice you would give a bartender that just started in this career, or just maybe he's been bartending, maybe he's doing a transition from flair to cocktails, or he's doing just a transition from a nightclub to cocktail world. What advice would you give them?
Sure. I think each of us are different, and there is a set of advices that I always like to give and keep in consideration. One is that if you are a young bartender in the beginning of your career, doesn't matter if you are a hotel bartender, street bartender, flair, you need to experience as much as you can with your own eyes and with your own self, not just looking at the videos on internet. Now, despite the situation now, you need to travel a lot and go by yourself to see Christian Delpech where he work, Ago in Georgia, Mauro de Connaught, and see Francesco in Las Vegas, all those people that are key people in the industry. And you need to experience the bar for what it is, not for what you read and what you see on the screen. So experience it is first. Then you need to be having a lot of patience. You cannot rush the process because it takes years of work. As I said before, in parallel, you need to be clever enough to be working, understand that you're working on yourself and your career. Don't put your career first only, because otherwise after 10, 15 years, maybe you don't know who you are. You're just working. And try to do as much variety of experience as you can. So work in a cocktail bar, a pub, discotheque. I mean, you are 20-year-old, the life is long, the career is long. So do it now, because then this one will benefit you. That's at least it benefit me.
No, absolutely, 100%. It benefits me also. I mean, working in different environments, you understand different styles of bartending in a way.
And you understand which is more suitable for you as well.
Absolutely, 100%.
You know?
And then if you need to do a consulting, you know, because you've been in that area already.
Exactly. You understand the guests, the clientele, all sorts of things, the speed of work. And also those things that are the basic that will help you as well to manage, to build your own personality without trying to be somebody else. As much as we like to be praised, people come to see, I go to Connaught, I want to be like you and stuff. You need to be like you, not like me. You can take inspiration by me.
Yes.
And the guys at the bar, the way how we work, how we talk, how we interact. But you need to take it as an inspiration.
And make it your own.
Not take it as part of you.
You
know, because that's very important. So those points for me are the key. Travel with experience by yourself. Try so many different style of bars as you can to work with, not as a guest. Have patience, lots of patience, by lots, a lot, because things don't come from night to day. And take inspiration from other people and see if it works for you. It might not work, you know. Or take the bit that work. I took the bit that worked for me in different experience, and I kept it with me. And that's Perrone, but Perrone is one, and Christian Delpech is only one. And
but let me tell you, like, I agree with you 100%. And those are the same things I will give as an advice. And I mean, I always advise, like, you know, learn your products, learn your classics, get some knowledge, but always guess is always first. That's the first thing of all. But what you just said, for experience, and it is amazing. It's 100. I agree 100%. So it doesn't matter. I mean, we have both different styles, but still the same. The passion, the approach is the same to it.
And once you experience yourself, you really understand it. You're enjoying it. It's not sitting on the couch watching the YouTube and then going in the kitchen
to be somebody else.
Try the cocktail, or in the garden to try the flair. You are experiencing yourself.
Yes, of course.
You know, experience the best gift you can have in life, because you have it. You know, nobody can take it off you.
No, of course.
You experience it.
Aro, one more question I have for you, and it's like, do you have any projects, like any new projects that you would like to share with us? Anything that you're doing new, or?
Well, we are working on currently remotely. We are working on a new menu. So the Connaught bar is due to open in September.
Okay.
Today, the Connaught Hotel reopened today with some of the rooms. Helen Rose, which is the Star Michelin restaurant, and the other bar, the Coburg bar, which is the classic bar. In September, the Connaught bar will reopen unless there is the need, and we open before, hopefully. So in the meantime, we are working on a new menu with the team. We are challenging ourselves in a very nice way, because now we're not like before every day together in the bar. We need to plan a Zoom meeting, plan a meeting somewhere to try the cocktail. So it's a challenge that we're taking on board, and we're very excited about it. It's a new way how to work. And
the reward is more satisfying.
We want to make the most out of it, because when we reopen the bar in September, we want to have the new menu launched with lots of new cool things, something which is, still in the Connaught bar style, that never changed in 12 years. Actually, on the 8th of August, we celebrated the 12th anniversary.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and that's one of the projects that we're working on. And then there is a few other things that I learned on myself, that you don't need to talk too much early about new things coming up or happening or ideas, because they kind of they fade somewhere. So when new things will arrive, you will see.
Nice.
Stay
That's
tuned.
awesome.
Stay tuned.
Yes. Awesome. Agos, it was an amazing pleasure for me, and I'm sure for everybody else, to listen to your words and advise your experiences. Every single thing that you said, it is super inspirational, and I think people should take those words and learn from it. Beginners, professionals, flair bartenders, classic bartenders, it doesn't matter. I mean, we're all
a family.
We're all a family. We all are here for one reason only, which is the ultimate guest satisfaction at the end of the day, which might be with an amazing martini, in the middle, or it could be just a straight scotch,
Exactly.
and it doesn't matter what it is, but it is the experience, what people takes from them. So it was a real pleasure, and I will thank you for your time, and I hope everything gets better soon, and you guys can open, and it would be nice if you can open by your anniversary too.
Yeah, that would be amazing. It looks very close. So
yeah.
Christian, a couple of words from me.
Yes.
Well, I told you before, you always been one of my really idol. When still now, before when I was more on the flair side, it was amazing. And the emotion I had once when I met you in Covent Garden, one of the many years that you won. I still have it in my heart here. So now when you text me the other day, we've been in touch several times in the last years, because we are part of the same community. We have a lot of friends in common, like Francesco and other people. And when you text me the other day, I felt very honored, and I felt very happy, like when almost like when Remasso called me for the job interview. It was kind of it's a step in life that it feels very nice to be called by someone that you admire a lot.
Thank you so much.
And we need to thank you for all what you are done and what you are doing for the bar industry. You are showing that you are not only one of the greatest flair bartender in the world, but you're a great professional, a great mixology, a great person, that you are an inspiration, as you are as a Christian Delpech for all of us.
Thank you so much. I'm flattered.
I have a question for you, Christian.
Yes.
Give me a score on my move.
That was classy. That was just perfect. That was a 10.
Fantastic.
That's just enough. You executed something that you executed. Perfect. Salute, Caro.
Thank you, Christian.
Thank you so
Love
much.
to speak to you.
Ciao.
Thank you, everyone
Likewise.
who were online, and I hope to see you soon.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Ciao, Christian. Grazie mille.
Ciao, Caro. Grazie a
Ciao,
te.
gracias. Ciao, ciao.
Ciao.